Nancy, there's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. We are on episode 30. Woo! Woo! We're on 30.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's exciting.
Yeah, the big 3-0.
Big 3-0 that we're no longer.
The dirty 30.
We decided for this special occasion, not really, but the fact that we're at 30, we decided to do a movie that is definitely in my top 3 horror movies.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
We're going to do it.
I agree.
So, Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, the OG.
Yeah. Yeah, get it.
So the movie came out on November 9th, 1984 in limited theaters, and then November 16th for nationwide release. Because nationwide's on your side. And it was directed by Wes Craven.
Yes.
The Craves.
The late great.
Yeah. Sucks that he's gone.
Indeed.
This movie only had a budget of $1.1 million. And from what I was reading, the studio was actually kind of not doing so great.
Yeah.
And this saved their ass.
Right.
So that's fantastic. And that is because they grossed worldwide $57 million.
Woo!
Yeah. No wonder there's like 1,000 sequels.
Right.
Well, okay, so there's 6 sequels. And then New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Which... kind of a sequel, but I think it stands on its own.
I agree.
It's one of my favorite sequels out of
the
sequels.
Good one.
Yeah. And then Freddy versus Jason. Meh.
Fun movie, in my opinion.
And then the shitty remake in 2010.
Yeah. Boo. Less said about that, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do have something to say about that.
Okay.
I will tell you. So originally the story was written as Freddy was supposed to be a child molester. And they were just like, it's kind of controversial.
Right.
So they made him a child murderer.
Right.
I don't know how one is better than the other, but
Right.
whatever. So in 2010, when it was remade, the shitty version once again, he was a molester.
They made him molesty.
Yeah. Molesty testes.
Yes.
It's gross.
Not good.
No. And that movie was just horrible.
Yeah, like in the original, it's kind of implied a little bit.
Well, yeah, because why else would he be around children?
Right.
You know? Yeah, but it's just not said out and out that that's in fact what was going on.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This movie, like I said, is near and dear to my heart. I saw it when I was very young. I think, if I figured this out correctly last time, I was like 5 or 6 years old, something like that, and saw it in broad daylight in a living room, and it still gave me nightmares for months.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely one of the first like 80s horror movies that I remember seeing, you know, because before that, for me, it was all like, you know, Universal Monsters and stuff like that. It was kind of like my graduation into like 80s horror was like Nightmare on Elm Street and probably Halloween, I think, were the first 2 for me.
See, and I didn't have horror. The only horror I had, which is still on the fence, really, is Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Poltergeist as well. I forgot about Poltergeist.
Yeah. We will cover it again at some point.
Oh, yeah.
In depth. Because, damn it.
Because Tobe Hooper is the man. Was the man.
Yeah.
Again, R.I.P.
So, this movie, Freddy Krueger was played by Mr. Robert Englund.
Yes, the man.
He is the original and will always be. Nobody should ever take his place.
Agreed.
There is rumors flying around about another one.
No.
And I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Just leave it as it is. It's good enough.
Because I read a thing not too long ago that he said he felt he was too old and he wasn't ever going to do it again. So if it's going to be somebody else, then no.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Just no.
We don't need it.
You know, he's irreplaceable. It's not like Jason or Michael where you can stick anybody behind that mask. You know, and we could argue that some people play Jason or Michael better than others, but still, it's pretty interchangeable. Yeah, but not Freddy though.
Yeah. What was the guy's name from 2010?
Jackie Earle Haley.
He's the same one that played.
He was Rorschach
yeah,
in Watchmen, and I like him as an actor, but even he couldn't save
No.
that abysmal remake.
No, I'm fine with him being Rorschach. That's fine. Let's leave it at that one. Nancy, the main girl in this movie, was played by Heather Langenkamp, and Glenn, who, if you don't know, you live under the world's biggest rock.
Right.
Johnny Depp.
Yes.
This was his breakout role. Right. Breakout!
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then Tina was played by Amanda Weiss. So, we had the chance to meet both Tina and Nancy.
Yes.
And it was a dream come true for me.
And Robert Englund as well.
Oh, and Robert Englund, but not pictures. I don't have pictures with Robert Englund. So, I've got a autograph.
Yeah.
But I did get to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I told him my story about how the movie scared me so bad that, I had those nightmares for months, and it wasn't until I saw that Polaroid with him and the shop owner at the video store. And he said, so many people have said that to him, that that's what it took.
Yeah.
And it snapped me right out of it. But it also made me really, really like horror at an early age, as much as I could actually have access to, because my mom didn't let me.
Right.
I'd go into the video store, I'd see the cool section, and she'd be like, nope.
Yeah.
She was even kind of no on Gallagher. Swearing, anything that.
Her strategy backfired.
Yeah.
Because you turned into a horror-loving heavy metalist and maniac.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely one of those things. Don't tell your kids no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're going to just
they
do
want
it anyway.
that forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
Whereas my mom just let me, whatever. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
She just let me be a horror-loving metal-listening maniac.
Yeah, it was a greatly encouraged thing. Yeah, I just didn't have that luck. It was whatever was on HBO.
Right.
And that was it.
Right. So is that where you saw Nightmare on
No.
Elm Street? Was on HBO, or you actually rented it?
No, that's the fun part. So I was at a babysitter's house, which I was never really babysat that often. I don't know why it was this day. But I was the little kid. It was my sister and I was the little one, the annoying one. So they wanted to get rid of me. So they're like, oh, we'll put a movie on for you. So I went and sat down in the living room. Nobody else was with me. And they put that movie on. And I even remember because it was in a clear box. The whole thing, yeah. So, yeah. And it's still surprising that it was broad daylight. And it just scared the living shit out of me. It was... And then, damn it, when Fresh Prince and when they did their
Nightmare
song,
on My Street,
yes, Nightmare on My Street, and it would play on the radio every night when I was trying to go to sleep. And I think it came out during the second movie, and Freddy talks in it,
right?
And oh my gosh, it would scare me. And I was already kind of over that, but it still just scared me for whatever reason.
Well, and the fact that in the first one, Freddy is a lot scarier than he is later on, or he's, it's not so much the quips and the one-liners and stuff like that. In that first one, he's much more, much scarier in the first one.
Yeah, he's
compared to all the others.
The real boogeyman.
Yeah.
And
he kind of goes back to, that's kind of funny because he starts off that way, and then when you get to New Nightmare, it's kind of back to that,
Yeah, exactly. He is the scary guy, and that's what they should have always held on to. And unfortunately, they didn't.
Right.
But I think Robert Englund kind of went into that too. He's kind of a card.
Right.
So I'm not totally surprised, And
that's one thing I like about Freddy versus Jason is that they really leaned into the ridiculousness of it,
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think it worked for that movie, but other sequels, obviously, I don't think.
Yeah, I think the only one aside from New Nightmare is Dream Warriors. It's a lot of people's favorite out of the sequels.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I think it was an HBO situation. I think that was part of it because I never rented it. I don't think. And there's some pretty well-known people in that, I think Patricia Arquette's in it, and I always wanted to make that popsicle stick house. We saw somebody at the comic book convention that we went to meet Freddy. we saw somebody with a popsicle stick house, and he was having it signed by Robert Englund. So jealous.
Pretty cool.
So jealous. I think it even lit up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the shiz.
Pretty damn cool.
So if you don't know the story of Nightmare on Elm Street, here's the quick version. So there's a girl, she starts having nightmares, and she tells her friends about it, and her friends are like, oh my God, I'm having nightmares too.
Same nightmare,
Yeah, I see him as well.
Yeah.
And people start getting offed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But while they're asleep, that's the scary part, is that you fall asleep and you're still able to function.
Right.
You know, and she pulls a hat out of nowhere, maybe out of her butt. I don't know.
Who knows?
But here's another fun one, though, is the doctor, the sleep doctor.
Yeah.
That is the same guy who does the voice for Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's kind of a goofy looking son of a gun. So. Yeah.
He is dorky. But it was so weird when I saw like things about Roger Rabbit later on, and I'm like, that's the doctor from that. It was just so weird. I never thought that those paths would cross. But cool. Whatever.
I'd also like to point out this movie has John Saxon in it.
Yes.
And the late great John Saxon, who was also in Dario Argento's Tenebrae.
Yeah.
And one of my other favorites, Black Christmas.
There you go. Yeah, so, he is good.
Yeah.
He's an intense-looking man.
He is. He's a handsome son of a gun.
Handsome.
He's just handsome. He's got really intense eyes and features. Yes. Yeah.
Nice tan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that does he die in 3? I think so. I think he dies in Dream Warriors.
Get killed, yeah.
It's that stupid scene in the junkyard.
Where's the skeleton, Freddy's skeleton or whatever's attacking them. Yeah, it's
weak sauce. Weak sauce.
Yeah.
But with this movie, you know, this is where my love of gore came from, because we all know there's some great scenes in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, fantastic.
The first big one, I think, is Tina.
Oh yeah, and that's just shocking.
It really was. It was so shocking. Her and her boyfriend had been humping.
Yeah.
You know, bumping uglies, and then they fall asleep, and of course she starts to dream about Freddy, and Freddy just guts her.
Yeah.
You know, and swings her around, and she's just dragging all over the place.
Yeah, that's very shocking.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, never seen anything like that before.
No.
In a horror movie.
It was done so well. I mean, they really made use of the rotating rooms in this movie.
Yeah.
Because the next time that they use that is when Glenn or Johnny Depp is murdered.
Right.
If nobody knows what the rotating room is, apparently it was used in a Fred Astaire movie originally, and that's where the room is. Everything's nailed down,
right? And they can flip it.
Yeah, and they turn it so then you look like you're going onto the ceiling.
So you're dancing on the ceiling. Oh, what a feeling!
Yeah. Such a dork.
Bringing it back to Lionel Richie from the last episode.
The last episode that you should go watch.
That's right. Check out 29.
Yeah.
20 twin.
But anyway, so what was funny about that one, though, that I learned that there's so much, because after, what happens is that Glenn gets sucked into a bed.
Right.
Which is a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But terrifying.
Right.
And then all the blood
which is fantastic.
So because the room was flipped upside down for that, so that scene could happen, all of that fake blood soaked into the ceiling. So then you see when they're going into the room again later that it's like dripping, and you can see where it's kind of bowing a little bit. And I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of added to it.
I agree.
Because it's like, nope, this is still very real.
Yes, I agree.
And it's so just crazy. Just crazy. But after Tina gets killed,
yes,
and Nancy falls asleep at school,
right?
Then she goes, down the hall and runs into Hall Pass Girl,
right,
which I dressed up as for a convention.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and she encounters Tina in a body bag.
Yeah, also
shocking. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good, and that I think creeped me out more than any of the bloody scenes, because it was just so. Body bags are scary.
Right. Yeah, and that's just scary because it's like daytime in the middle of school. It's like, it's like that whole thing I've talked about before where you're not safe anywhere. You know?
That's exactly what this whole movie is you're not safe anywhere. You think that you should be fine just going to sleep and not thinking about whatever bad stuff has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then that shit just gets brought back up
Right.
again. But with this, it was like, she not only was she in the body bag and all the ooze and stuff, which was amazing,
Right.
but also she gets dragged by an invisible force.
Right.
And I'm sure there's other times in other movies this has happened, but what it makes me think of is Paranormal Activity. When somebody gets dragged, and I mean, that's a little bit more realistic in Paranormal Activity, in my opinion.
Right.
But still, what is there, and obviously it's supposed to be Freddy, but you don't see him because you're not dreaming it.
Right.
So I think that's pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rod, who was Tina's boyfriend. I don't remember what that guy's name is. Sorry.
I don't either.
Yeah, he looked like he should be on like Happy Days.
He looked like the Fonz.
Yeah, he looked like the Fonzarelli. But yeah, he gets hung in a jail cell, and that was kind of it was eerie.
Eerie, yeah, but that's probably the least.
Oh yes, the least shocking out of all. But I didn't know what suicide was then.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
So people really do that to themselves, huh? And that was filmed in a real jail that apparently was later torn down.
Oh. Okay.
So, and the boiler room scenes were also in that jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in Los Angeles somewhere.
Interesting.
So, I think the corniest one, though, I think you probably agree with me on this, is her mom.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Her mom gets set on fire because Freddy jumps on her because he was set on fire and all this stuff. And she melts into the bed.
Yeah, the part's kind of
And it looks like she kind of wobbles a little bit, like she's on a table, and unsteady hydraulics. It just looked funny.
Yeah.
But in this movie, for some reason, I don't know why I like this scene so much, but when Nancy goes into all the booby traps.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the booby traps, not the booty traps. And it's just amazing what she sets up and whatever.
Right.
But it's so funny to me because those things that she did to him were so fast. And it was like, it's almost as good as like throwing a garbage can towards somebody. I've never thought that was a good idea in any movie.
Right.
And then he just goes all, marshmallow stairs on her.
Right.
It's like, that's way worse. Because you can't get away, The other stuff was just startling, or like, oh, a sledgehammer. Oh, my gosh.
Right, yeah.
But the marshmallow stairs.
Yeah,
that's gross. Because that is definitely in a lot of people's nightmares of not being able to run fast enough.
Right.
And, I mean, that is shown in horror movies over and over again, and especially Poltergeist. And terrifying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I think this movie is a whole package.
Oh, yeah.
Of everything that you love about horror.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even, I mean, I'm sure if somebody was to see it today and they were younger than us, they would be like, this is pretty corny.
Yeah, for sure.
But it wasn't then.
No, definitely not.
It was absolutely scary for everybody involved.
Oh, yeah.
And I really wish it would be re-released in the theater.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Poltergeist in the theater. That was amazing.
Yes.
I'd like to, if anybody's listening out there, I would like to see Nightmare on Elm Street in the theater, please.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. On one of our anniversary trips to Los Angeles, when you wanted to go to Amoeba again.
My happy place.
Yes.
Happiest place on earth.
When we got married, it was April 10th, and Record Store Day is always around that time. So that was one of the places we went to, aside from Disneyland, of course, that, and it happened to be Record Store Day, and we're like, this is going to be chaos.
Yeah.
A couple years later, we returned, so we could go on a non-Record Store Day.
Yes.
And enjoy the original Amoeba location. And I learned that the Nightmare on Elm Street house was just a few blocks from where we were.
Right.
And I was like, aw, damn it. So we went and saw the house.
Yes.
And so it's right off of like Hollywood Boulevard-ish area. I can't tell you specifically now. But it's right off of there. They've gone through different owners. So recently the people who own it are trying to make it not look so Nightmare on Elm Street-ish. And I'm like, Why did you buy that house?
Yeah, exactly.
You can just kiss my ass.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it needs to be a fan.
Yeah, these people that buy these houses and then don't want or don't expect people to, want to take pictures and stuff. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I would totally play into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd decorate the shit out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd have Freddy in the window or something.
Seriously. Seriously, be like, here, do you need to use my tongue phone? I mean...
Or like dress up and jump out at people, something.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
How could you? These people just,
I know, they just kind of ruined my childhood.
If you gotta stick up your ass, man, don't ruin it for everybody else.
No.
Somebody who loved the movie or who was a fan or who appreciates that people are fans of that movie could have bought that house.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, and then right across the street, just like in the movie, it wasn't just an illusion, but was Glenn's house.
Right.
So it really worked out for them when they did filming, and the street, it just kind of reminds you of Haddonfield and all of that, just the big tree-lined streets and beautiful houses. So I did take a picture in front of that house, and I don't care who.
Well, of course, yeah.
Because that's what you have to do. Yeah, they didn't even put like a gate up or
any
a fence.
Self-respecting horror fan, you got to take a picture. I don't care who you are.
Next time we need to get to the Poltergeist house, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just so cool to be able to see the house, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then remember that the really dumb scene at the very, very end of the movie where the mom gets sucked into the world's tiniest window.
It looks like a damn blow-up doll.
It does. It looks like a sex doll, and it's like...
yeah, so ridiculous.
It looks horrible. I'm like, why did you leave that?
Yeah, that should have been cut.
Yeah.
There's a few things that don't work in the movie, but so much of it does that it doesn't matter. There's little things that could have been tweaked or cut out, but for the most part, it works so well.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wish they had gone. I know we've discussed this like a gazillion times, but gone into the backstory just a hair more,
a little bit more,
because I mean, the mom talks about it when Nancy's finally like, "Listen, Mom, stop being a lush. Tell me what the real story is. You know what's up."
Yeah.
And then they go down to the basement, and she busts out Freddy's glove that was inside of the furnace thing or the whatever that thing is. And it's like, okay, well, how does Freddy have his glove in the dream? But that's beside maybe he had two. Maybe a backup plan.
Backup glove.
Yeah. You always have to have a backup glove. Right. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know, though.
Yeah.
It just seemed like I wish that they could have said more. I mean, they just said, oh, well, this guy was a child killer. And so all the parents got together and burned him alive.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the one thing we should discuss, though,
is what?
The Nightmare on Elm Street TV show.
Freddy's Nightmares? I don't even hardly remember it. It was just kind of like an anthology, though, right? It was like a Tales from the Crypt type situation. Yeah. Freddy was the Crypt Keeper, basically, right?
Exactly. And it was just, it wasn't good.
Yeah, I don't remember it very well.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. It was on something a few years ago that we could see.
You could stream it somewhere.
Yeah, and so if you feel like wasting your time, you go right ahead.
Because I think we tried to watch just like even one episode, and we're like, no,
it's so bad.
So much.
But I was so excited about it because I was like, oh, it's something else, Nightmare on Elm Street, So when it did come out, I was like, this is crazy that this is on TV.
Right,
how violent could it actually be?
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
And then the other one, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a 976 number to call Freddy.
Yeah,
I got in trouble for that one. I definitely got in trouble for that one. But I had to call Freddy, And then I got to speak to him for real later on. So that was much better, obviously, than the 976 numbers. Anyway, I think I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we're good on this.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We all know this movie. If you're a true horror fan, you know this movie. It is a classic. It is one of the ultimate best horror movies out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you haven't seen it, for the love of God and all things holy, go see it.
Yep.
Why haven't you seen it?
Right?
That's just weird.
That would be weird to call yourself a horror fan. And, I'm not trying to, like what you like, watch what you want to watch. But I do feel it's kind of weird to call yourself a horror fan and not have seen A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, the quintessential horror. Yeah,
Right.
You kind of need to see it.
Exactly.
So, and then, do you guys like any of the sequels?
Yeah, how do you feel about the sequels? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I feel like someday we should sit and, not all of them at once, but watch all the sequels just to kind of see.
Well, I decided
because I know I've seen all of them, but I don't remember.
I've decided to take you up on that challenge. I mean, granted, there's not nearly as many Friday I can't even say the word, Friday the 13th movies, but I'm still going to sit through the whole thing. We have the box set.
Right.
Of all of the movies.
Yeah.
So we really should put ourselves through it. I guess, and I also have that book that I have yet to read, that Never Sleep Again book.
Yeah.
And so that ought to be interesting someday when I can focus and sit down and read.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen. Anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week again, as always.
Yeah.
Pretty please with a cherry on top. Like and subscribe.
Yes.
That's how you support YouTubers.
Yes.
It costs you nothing to do.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, but it helps the algorithm. It helps us get the support.
That's right.
And it helps tell us what you do and don't like.
Yeah.
We can kind of see that you're Foo Fighter haters right now.
No love for Dave Grohl.
No. And you're missing out on that movie.
That's a good one.
Studio
666 is rad.
It is. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.